All right. My name is Jonnie Spratley, and I am a UI developer for GE Software. And this is a presentation on learning Yeoman. So, meet Yeoman. Yeoman is a workflow composed of 3 tools for streamlining developers' productivity when building modern web applications. There's tons of modules and generators out there, and getting started is pretty easy. So what is Yeoman? Well, Yeoman is a workflow composed of 3 tools, which is Yo, the scaffolding tool, Bower, the package manager, and Grunt, the build tool. They all run in the Node.js environment and are installed with one command, npm install yo. Passing the global flag allows the yo command to be invoked from any directory. So some of the features of Yeoman would be a quick install. There's just one line of code to install all 3 tools. Scaffolding, fast and easy to use scaffolding to create new projects from templates that the individual generators provide. The build process, there's tasks for minification, compilation, optimizing, and testing. There's a built-in preview server, so one of the hardest or one of the most difficult things to do when creating a new web application is actually running it on a demo server. So instead of creating a Rackspace cloud server and then uploading FTP or whatever, you could just use the built-in preview server, which is a local node server that you could use to run your project. Code linting, scripts ran against JS hint tasks to ensure that your language or your code follows the language's best practices. Testing, a lot of the generators out of box come pre-configured with configuration for running Jasmine tests, QUnit, Node unit, and yeah. So automation, Yeoman features a watch process that'll watch all your scripts, compile your CoffeeScript files, your less, your Sass, etc., and reload the browser when those changes occur. So let's see. Terminal. Well, using Yeoman, the terminal is going to be your best friend because all the tools in Yeoman are invoked from the command line. So another great thing about Yeoman is the generators. If you visit yeoman.io, you could search. There's about over 400 generators there. You could also search on npm, which is Node Package Manager. They also have about 16 official generators, such as Angular, Backbone, Ember, Chrome app, Grunt plugin. So pretty much any kind of project that you want to create, you could find a generator for it. So one of the great things about using Yo is scaffolding projects. One of the most common projects to scaffold would be a generic web app. So it's easy as typing in one line in the command line, or one command in the command line to scaffold a generic web application. Also, the scaffolding Angular applications is never been easier. It'll scaffold out all your initial routers, views, templates, etc., as well as hook up Grunt tasks for building and testing your project. Backbone apps are another easy way to get started with scaffolding projects. Another great thing is you could scaffold individual files. So if you wanted to add a new route, view, and template to your Angular application, you could easily just invoke one of the sub-generators and scaffold out those files. So, okay, moving on. next tool in Yeoman would be Bower, which is a package manager for the web. Again, with a one-line install, you could install this independently from Yeoman, or installing Yo will install Bower as well. So, a command to search packages. Well, before we get into searching for packages, the old way of adding libraries to a project would consist of, doing numerous things: opening up the website, downloading the library, unzipping the folder, copying and pasting it into your project, then wiring it up to your index. Those are 6 steps that can easily be automated into 3. So how that would occur would be using Bower search. So Bower search in the name of your package brings up a list of your packages. Bower install, package name, hash, version, can install individual versions of those libraries. And Bower update will search all of your project dependencies and check if they're up to date. Let's see. So why Bower? Well, Bower has a huge ecosystem of libraries that are available to install from the command line. The difference between Bower and NPM, which would be NPM is used to manage server-side dependencies, and Bower is used to manage client-side dependencies. These packages can consist of any type of asset, so it's not just set up for JavaScript libraries. So Grunt. Grunt is a task manager for developers to help automate tasks in a project. It's an alternative to using Cake or Rake or Makefile. The Grunt workflow consists of 3 commands that will help you with development. If you don't have Grunt installed already, it's a one-line install, npm install grunt CLI. And then the 3 commands that you would use mostly during development would be grunt serve, which would launch a preview development server, grunt test, which would run all your tests configured in your Grunt file, and then Grunt, which would produce a distribution build of your project. Other tasks can be easily added to your gruntfile.js to accommodate to any type of need. So why Grunt? Well, again, Grunt has a huge ecosystem. There's tasks for everything. Pretty much any kind of tasks that you could think of for your project, such as generating documentation, creating a proxy server, etc., you could do with Grunt. Gruntjs.com plugins, you could search for many different plugins, as well as just using the npm search command and searching for a type of plugin. So one of the great things about using Grunt would be live reload. So running the grunt serve command starts the development server with live reload enabled, so you could make changes to your files and save them, and the browser will refresh automatically. So you don't have to keep switching back to the browser, refreshing, saving, back and forth. It's just another process that can be automated. So another great thing is the optimization that Grunt does. If you want to see a distribution build of your project, running grunt serve :dist would start up the development server, but with the built files of your application, which is always great. Okay, so the workflow consists of Yo, Bower, and Grunt. Yo is a scaffolding tool, Bower would be your package manager, and Grunt would be your build tool. So the general workflow would be you install a generator using npm install generator dash the name of the generator. Then you invoke that generator. Then you install any kind of dependency you want. You test your app, you serve your app, and then you build your app for deployment. Okay, let's recap on what we just went over. Scaffolding, dependency management, preview, test, and build. So the scaffold tool. There's lightning fast scaffolding to save time and money, by automating repetitive tasks. There's hundreds of generators out there. They're easily installed using Node Package Manager. Some of the official generators maintained by the Yeoman team would be the Angular, Backbone, Ember, as well as the web app generator. Another great thing about Yeoman is there's a generator for generators. So if you wanted to create a custom generator for a custom project at work or at home, you could use the Yeoman generator to scaffold out a generator for others to use to create projects with. So that is definitely a huge plus to that. So Bower, the package tool. Again, it's a web package manager which allows you to easily manage dependencies for your project. There's thousands of libraries, and it's package agnostic, meaning a package can be any type of asset, not just style sheets or JavaScript libraries. And then Grunt, the build tool. It's a JavaScript task runner. It allows you to build, test, and preview projects. It has a huge ecosystem. Most tasks are already available as Grunt plugins. And it's used internally at GE Software. We use Grunt for testing and building our projects. And then some resources. Yeoman.io, Bower.io, Gruntjs.com, GitHub.com, Node.js, and NPM. Those are some resources where you could find more information about using Yeoman and the tools in the workflow. So to show you how easy it is to get started with Yeoman, we're going to do a little example. One second. Okay, so let's see. You guys see that okay? Okay, since I already have Yeoman installed on this machine, the easiest way to get started would be to well, first, in order to create a project, you need to create a folder for that project. So let's just create a simple project folder, and then let's just invoke the most basic generator, which would be the web app generator. So doing that would just be yo web app. And it prompts you, for some options. So these options are, defined inside the generator. So would you like to add Bootstrap, which is Twitter Bootstrap, enable Sass, and use a monetizer? So we'll just leave the default options. So what's going on right now is it already scaffolded all the files needed for the project. So it created your grunt file, your package file, your gitignore, your bower.json file, some JS hint configuration file, your robots text styles, etc. So then after creating all the files, it starts to pull all down the development dependencies for Grunt, which are all the Grunt tasks that this project is going to use. So after it grabs all your development dependencies, it starts to fetch your client-side dependencies from Bower. So that'll download all of the client-side libraries into a Bower components folder inside your app project. So as you can see, all these files were created, easily just from one command. It seems like Bower is kind of being held up. So, okay. Okay, so we got a timeout. So let's see, in order to get around that, we would need to do Bower install, which reads your bower.json file, which is right here. Which is just a simple JSON file that specifies which libraries that your project requires. I don't know if you could see that, it's kind of small. Okay, well this looks like that's not working, so let's see. So I'll just start a project that was created earlier. So you can see the live reload. Well, hopefully we can connect to the internet. Yeah. It seemed like NPM timed out. So, I can't really show you an example. But anyways, is there any questions on, Yeoman and using Yeoman? Has anybody used Yeoman?
So I noticed once you look at NPM modules, it's a massive number of files. I mean, if you look at the generate files, it's a couple, like 30 meg or something.
Yeah.
So when you run dist, how much does it get compressed down? Does it only, when you do the dist build, distribution build,
yeah,
how much get compressed down?
The node modules don't get included in the dist build. It would just be all your application resources. So those node modules would then be installed on the deployment server. So when you deploy your dist build, well, actually, I don't even think your node modules would be in there unless you have some type of server-side modules, like if you had a node server that needed modules. But all of your dev dependencies will not get, packed down into your dist build.
Is this applicable to another backend besides Node backend?
No, unfortunately, all the tools in Yeoman, run in the Node.js environment. So, yeah.
How hard is it to make your own generator? Like, want to customize the output?
It's really easy. It only is about, well, it's one file, which would be an index file, which, yeah, a JavaScript file, and then any type of templates that you want to use for that. So all a Yeoman generator is essentially is a common JS module. So you declare your generator logic on the module or on the exports object, on a common JS, and then just extend the Yeoman generator API by calling the extend method. So it's pretty easy. And another good thing is all methods that you declare on the prototype object of your generator get ran in order. So you could separate out the logic for your generator, into individual methods, but the order that those methods are declared will get ran in that order. So that's just one thing to look out for.
I used that for a long time, and then I kind of learned about Gulp. How would you, have you tried Gulp at all, and how would you compare?
Gulp? Oh, no, I've never tried that. Yeah.
So you work for G. So can you talk about, in an enterprise setting, your backend is probably going to be various database, Oracle. I mean, what are you generate this web app. How do you hook up to your backend enterprise level systems? Web service, REST API? Can you talk about that bit here?
Well, it's not so much of using Yeoman to connect a generated application to a server. We use the Yeoman tools internally for, testing our projects and such like that. Testing, building, generating files, getting started on new projects. Not so much of the deployment. So, connecting to like Oracle database backend, unless that server, exposes an API of some sort, you could either use the Grunt Connect proxy node module, which allows your grunt serve command to be proxy all requests to whatever remote server you have. So if you were to deploy, a generated app using the default Grunt server, your request would then get proxied to whatever endpoint you want. So connecting it to any type of backend is fairly straightforward.
How do you resolve the Bower implementation?
Like if you were to install an Angular plugin that requires a different version of Angular that's currently installed.
No, just that, so like we were referencing like jQuery and Bootstrap right now, like the Bower installer directory, so your application automatically goes after that Bower installer directory.
It doesn't automatically know to map to that. When the grunt serve command is running, it sets the your server directory to the app folder. So inside your index, your scripts are accessing it by Bower components, the directory itself. So it's not necessarily, you don't just type in like jQuery.js and then it knows which folder to pull that out of. You have to put the path or use the Grunt Bower install task that will automatically wire up the paths to your index after installing those libraries.
So there's a Bower module that will actually resolve and rewrite the application path?
Yeah. Okay. It's a grunt task called Grunt Bower install. Yeah. Let's see if this Okay, so let's just run grunt serve. Let's see if we can get this up. Okay, as you can see, the styles are not applied because Bower install did not finish. So, running Bower install will install those libraries, hopefully. But just, showing an example of using the live reload. Let's just go ahead and modify this. We'll just modify the style sheet. So let's see, let's do something drastic. Oh, okay, there you go. The Bower just finished, so as you can see, it automatically updated and refreshed with the different styles applied. So let's see if we can. I think the web app generator comes default with Grunt Bower install. Yeah, it does. So let's see. Let's modify the style and do, header. We'll change the title to, let's just do red. So as you could see, it instantly updated. So that's a good thing. Let's see. So saving, live reload. Running grunt test. Yeah, I think this will time out. Yeah, so I mean, using Yeoman is definitely streamlined, creating projects, whether at work or personal. I've had experience, creating projects from scratch, and it definitely sucks having to manually create, any file and every file, and a lot of copying and pasting from a boilerplate template into the file that you want to use, which is never fun because then you have to, replace all the namings and things like that. So I use, the tools in Yeoman on a day-to-day basis. So, I'm a big fan of Yeoman. Yeah, so I mean, is there any more questions or?
You have a local site that you have an eco setup for. Can you still use the live reload, or do you have to go through that? Like, for instance,
like if you just had localhost going.
Well, let's say you had my project.dev. Can you use the live reloading and stuff?
For that name?
Yeah, for that name.
I don't think so. I don't think it supports named hosts, with that. You can try. There is a host property and a port property that you can specify on your Connect server in the grunt file.js. So
you kind of touched on this before with the other question, but when you're making your own Yeoman plugin or Yeoman generator, you have full access to everything that's included in Node.js, right? You're not sandboxed in any way, right?
yeah.
Awesome. I like it.
Yeah, that's another good thing because there's a lot of great utilities in Node that you could just use right away in your generator.
So just naive question, so coming out from outside of the web, can you describe very generally what scaffolding means and what is a generator?
Okay, well, scaffolding, scaffolding is a process that, like if you were to scaffold something, you scaffold something from a template, from like a boilerplate. So the scaffolding tool, meaning it's a tool that creates things from something else. So a generator is essentially a scaffold tool because a generator takes user input and generates output. So the output that it generates would be based off of the templates that are defined, which then make the generator scaffold out projects. So that's kind of that's what scaffolding and what a generator is. A generator scaffolds files from templates.
But if you're ordering a Yeoman Bower, so you only scaffold before you generate.
Yeah, because in order to install dependencies, you need to install it into a directory. In order to run grunt serve, you need to have files to serve. So running yo, the name of the generator, so yo web app invokes the web app generator. If I passed Angular or Backbone or Ember, it would invoke the Angular generator or the Backbone generator. And then if you pass a sub-generator, which would be, okay, so if you want to generate a project as a whole, it would be yo and then the name of the generator. If you want to create an individual file for your application, it would be yo, the name of the generator, and then the name of the sub-generator. So if you want to create a new web application, you do yo web app. And if you want to add a new view, it would be yo web app view and then the name. Questions?
Can you go over real quickly how to do your own generator?
Yeah. Let's see. No, I mean, the only support that it really has would be the Grunt, listening to the Grunt tasks. Yeah, so let me just bring up this document. Yeah, so this, I actually just finished up a book for Packet Publishing called Learning Yeoman. So we cover, I cover all of these topics in the book that's going to be out, probably in like 2 months. So this would be, a preview of chapter 6 where we cover creating custom generators. So, creating a custom generator, first, you would need to install the generator. So that's done by, npm install generator global or -global. Then you invoke the generator. It asks you a few options. So, your GitHub username. I don't know if you guys can see that. Your GitHub username, etc. And then it creates some of the files. So let's just take a look at some of the files of a generator project. Okay, so generators by default use JavaScript, but in this project I used CoffeeScript. So I'll just show you, well, the JavaScript file that you're seeing now is the compiled CoffeeScript file, so it's definitely a little bit different. So I'll just show you the CoffeeScript file. Okay, so here would be the definition of a Yeoman generator. You just create a local variable and you call the extend method on the base class of the generator API. So then, as the methods are in order, that's the order that they'll run. So the first method that I have would be, the init method, where I get the package. And then I set up an event listener, so when the generator's end event occurs, install the dependencies unless skip install is there. So the ask for, so after getting all the package information, the next method that would be ran would be the ask for method. And this uses a prompt system, a command line prompt system to ask the user, different questions. Types can be input, checkbox, and then I think a select. So then this would be a simple copy. Well, there's two types of generators. There's an advanced generator, and then there would be a basic generator. A basic generator just copies files, you know, from one directory to another. A more advanced generator would be one that copies files from one place to another, but adds in information, you know, relevant towards the options that were selected. So then inside your templates, that's where you would have to put your logic. It uses the underscore micro templating library. So, you know, you have access to the different underscore methods in there in your templates as well. So I just have it set up app. The app method just makes a few directories and copies, you know, a few files. And then created a project files method, which just will copy over the project dependent files. And then a Bower installer method, which will just install, you know, those two libraries. So again, setting it the generator on the module.exports variable enables that to be used by Yeoman. So if you were to, if you wanted to link your development generator to your system, you would need to do sudo npm link, which will wire up your name path with your generator. So I know it's kind of small, but yeah, so I mean the templates for the generator are, I just prefixed them with an underscore so that I know that there's underscore templating methods inside these templates. So, you know, the blog name that you entered in on the options would then just get injected right there using the underscore micro templating library. So yeah, creating generators is very straightforward, really easy to get started doing it. That's why there's about over 400 generators right now on NPM. So,
So how would you copy like a framework that doesn't exist inside, that's available in NPM?
if you wanted to copy a library that does not exist, but it is on NPM?
It's not.
It's not on NPM? Okay, well the good thing about Bower is it can fetch from a Git URL or an HTTP URL. So if it was just a zip file, you could just specify that in your, you could either do it in JavaScript inside your, at the bottom when you do, I think it's this Bower install, which will, yeah, so this Bower install, which will, you could pass in a name of the libraries or a URL location. So what that'll do is that'll install the library and then save the entry to your bower.json file. Or a little bit easier method would just to be to add, you know, the name and location of the library to the bower.json file directly. Yeah, so
for, let's say JavaScript files that you want for your application that you created, do you end up putting that back into Bower so as part of the packaging, or do you just leave that as part of your like file in your application?
So the question would be, do you copy the Bower files into?
No, like, let's say you, in your application, your application logic, you create some JS called main JS do you end up putting that back into as a kind of Bower dependency so that?
Oh, no. When inside your index file, there would be these HTML comments that specify during the build process. It specifies, what it should do. So there would be a plugins comment that will put everything inside that comment in a plugin script, and then there would be an app script which would put all your application code in an app script. So your application code never becomes entangled with your plugin code. So yeah, it'll never live in the Bower components directory unless it was installed by Bower or you manually stuck it there. But if you manually put it there, inside the git ignore file, it says to ignore the Bower components folder, because your application is always supposed to have the latest dependencies from the actual location. So you could package your application with the Bower dependencies, but that just don't increase the file size and time. So yeah, I mean that pretty much wraps it up. Thank you.